Welcome everyone to the live launch webinar of Antavo's Global Customer Loyalty Report 2023. I'm Zsuzsa Kecsmar, Chief Strategy Officer and co-founder of Antavo Enterprise Loyalty Cloud. The reason we talk today is that we all want to know about the future of loyalty, and this is why we conducted this big research that we started already at the end of August. And this is why we created this big report, this 81-page document, the Global Customer Loyalty Report. The report will be out tomorrow, but as you, the attendees of this webinar, will get it today, like an hour after the end of this webinar. And we would like you to use this report when, for example, you are building a business case around launching a loyalty program or relaunching a loyalty program, or if you want to prove numbers to your colleagues, to your manager, to the board, to the CEO. We created the report with the purpose that you can actually take screenshots of various parts of it. That is perfect to insert into a presentation or into a document. And actually last year we received RFPs with our own numbers, which I was very happy to see. Today I'm here with two great experts on their fields, Joseph Taylor and Andreanne Rondeau. Please introduce yourself. Maybe Joseph, you can start.
Thanks, Zsuzsa. Thank you. Thanks for having me on this webinar. Hi everyone, my name is Joseph Taylor, and I'm the practice lead and consultant for the customer marketing practice at EPAM Continuum. I've been working in customer marketing space for nearly 2 decades, designing loyalty programs, implementing them and rolling them out to the various markets, and also optimizing the different aspects of existing programs. So nice to be with you all.
Thank you, Joseph. Then over to you, Andreanne.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Andreanne Rondeau. I'm loyalty specialist and founder at stratLX, consulting loyalty agency. I've been working in the loyalty space for close to 20 years now. At stratLX assist business in the design of the loyalty strategy, business case development, and implementation of programs. It's really great to be here with you today to share the insight on the Global Customer Loyalty Report. It's our second edition of the report this year. So I had the pleasure of working and compiling the survey and the report both last year and this year. So at last, finally this morning, after a few months of work, I can only say that I'm very excited again to share those insights with you all.
Thank you very much, Andreanne. And it is so nice to work on this report with you again this year.
Thank you. Yeah.
Today, we will aim for the first 30 minutes when we will share the findings of the report, and we will talk about these 3 areas that you can see in the screen: how loyalty pays back to your company, how loyalty pays back to your customers, and how loyalty pays back to the world to help solve the bigger problems of the world. And after that, there will be time to answer questions. We will have 20 minutes for that, and we will wrap up 10 minutes before the hour, so you will have time to catch up before your next meeting. And about asking questions, there's this little GoToWebinar panel on your right, this little panel, and you can see a label there, questions. And if you click there, you can just simply type your questions over there. At any time, you can do it in the first half an hour too. And in the second part, we will go through this and hopefully able to answer. Maybe we'll not be able to answer to all of it, but we will reach out to you with our answers if your question is not answered in the call. Okay, so let's dive in. The first thing that I would like to answer, that how we created this report. Well, first, we surveyed 260 marketing and loyalty professionals with a big global survey. We also conducted 600 minutes of qualitative interviews with loyalty program experts all around the world. And we also analyzed 290 million loyalty program data points, loyalty program actions from the loyalty programs that are managed by Antavo all over the world. And I brought here a couple of teaser pages from the report, so you can see that it includes charts, of course, copy, beautiful imagery, even flying whales, and then it includes actionable insights. So we created the document in a way that you can skim read it. Of course, you can read through all the 81 pages, but you can also skim read it. We included some featured loyalty programs like Aldi Club is here. And then we wrap up with the loyalty program benchmarks and KPIs you should track, which includes actual benchmarks. You can benchmark your own loyalty program against. And there is also a grand summary in the document. So you can read it, you can skim read it, you can read it in a detailed way, and there is also an in-between version. There is Mary Pelacki, who I always really like to quote. She is an analyst for loyalty programs at Forrester, and she says, loyalty is a lifeline during the inflation crisis, and we need to face now a new reality today. Loyalty programs today are different from 1 year ago, and even different from 2 years ago, which was the previous crisis. So today, these are the 3 things that we can talk about, how loyalty pays back. Loyalty pays back to your company by providing a high ROI, and it's especially important for CFOs and CMOs who really like to see these numbers. Loyalty pays back to your customers, so they feel seen. They know that you are on their side in these hardships that I think everyone in the world experiences right now. And loyalty pays back to the world because it can help to solve the bigger problems of the world. So starting with how loyalty pays back to your company, and here is a poll first. We are curious about you before showing the next number. What will you focus on more in the next year? And here I'm launching a poll in GoToWebinar. What will you focus on more in the next year? Launch poll, and then you're able to answer this now. You can select one of the following. Is this customer acquisition that you are going to focus on more, or is this customer retention that you will focus on more? I'm closing the poll in a second. Close poll, share results. And here we are. According to this quick poll, 73% of people who gave answers think that they will focus more on customer retention. And if you see the next number, it's somewhat similar, because the next number shows that 68% of businesses plan to increase their investment in customer retention. The question was not asked exactly this way in the report, but it was asked if you plan to increase investment in customer retention or in customer acquisition, and 68%, which is like 2 times higher, planned to increase investment in customer retention. Okay, so here comes the next number. 80% of programs with a positive ROI have an average of 4.9 times ROI, meaning that those who measure, 80% of them experience that their ROI is almost 5 times than the investment that they make. So their return is 5 times of the investment that they make, which is, I think, a very, very nice number. And on the next slide, our third number is that 79% of loyalty program owners are going to revamp in the next 3 years, which is a number that was 72% last year. Last year, it was 72% of companies who wanted to revamp their loyalty program in the next 3 years. So there is this growing tendency of those who want to revamp, to want to renew, because either they face these technological hardships with their existing loyalty programs, or they just want to renew their technology stack. And here comes the time to ask our experts. And now the floor is yours, Andreanne. How can you take action as a loyalty manager with knowing these numbers?
Yeah, seeing those numbers, we know that it can be an important investment to either launch or revamp a loyalty program. So just before I get started with this, I just want to invite people to see the full report, because there's great insight on average cost and average timeline to launch and revamp. So first, when we look at the economic situation at the moment and the employment situation, companies need to make smart investment of their financial, smart use of their financial and human resources. So the first step would be to invest in people and skills. So when we look at human resources, you need to get the right people and the right skills to launch and manage a loyalty program. Loyalty is a cross-functional expertise, and yet we still see that a lot of companies are working in silos instead of leveraging that cross-functional team. So launching a loyalty program is a company-wide project. It's not a marketing initiative. It's not just an IT one. So to build on the expertise internally to manage and launch your program, I'd say that there's specialized training offered on the market. You can also work with loyalty specialists, but to get it right, you do need the right expertise and the right business mindset. And then talking about mindset, that brings me to my second point, which is about shifting the fund of acquisition towards loyalty. A lot of companies are still focusing on short-term revenue, short-term wins, rather than looking at the big picture. And what I have to say to them today is it's not the time to reduce investment in loyalty. It's been proven and it's been said millions of times that retaining a customer is much cheaper than acquiring a new one. So it's time for companies not only to recognize this and recognize how important loyal customers are to their business, but also to shift the investment to these customers instead of constantly trying to bring new ones. And third and last, brand need to set and track the right KPIs. We've seen it's good for companies to have loyalty program, but you need to be able to demonstrate the results. And the good thing with loyalty is that in comparison with many other initiatives and marketing initiatives, it's measurable. So it allows brands to track retention rate. It allows them to identify their most valuable customers. So you need to look at financial KPIs, such as like sales, transaction penetration, customer lifetime value, and ROI, obviously. But you also need to look at non-functional KPI because it encourages brand advocacy, it encourages or increase satisfaction rate as well. So you need to keep track of those. I'd say that the report is giving great insight into KPI benchmark. You had a sneak peek just earlier. So it's a good place to start, and then you can work from there to adapt your KPI to your strategy and your objective.
Thank you very much, Adrienne. Now it's over to you, Joseph. What do you think? How can people take action?
So I've got 3 core notes really for how could you drive additional value from your existing loyalty investments. So I'll start with the first one, which is about the ongoing evolution of program benefits. I mean, if we want to maintain ongoing program engagement, we're going to need to continue to optimize the value that we provide to our members. So I encourage the marketing managers out there to look at broadening their reward options, especially complementary reward partnerships that will help them expand the program benefits. Again, the objective here will be to improve redemption rates and reduce breakage rates. The second one, and again, it's kind of interesting, kind of complements hopefully with what Andreanne said earlier about acquisition, which is, well, we want to continue to extract even more value right out of existing loyalty investments. So most programs have already got a lot of strong data about how their members spend, the categories they purchase, the stores they visit, and so much more. So again, find out how you can extract this data in a secure manner from your existing loyalty platform, and then partner with your media team and their agency, and see how you can use that data in a privacy compliance manner. And again, the objective here would be attract and recruit new members using data from your existing high value members. And the last one, really last point, it's about how do we speed up the ongoing improvements, right? So it's about how do we get value from your existing platform investments. It's vital that you've got a platform that can support you with testing out new tactics, that you can learn from what works and what doesn't, and then also how do you roll them out to other stores or other geographies. So the beauty of flexible loyalty platforms, like for example Antavo Loyalty Cloud here, it's that enables you to turn on these features very, very easily. You can pilot your tactics, you can measure whether it works for you, and then obviously you can do that without requiring any massive investments in new costly development efforts. So the objective here is how do you continue to realize value from your existing investments? So that would be my 3 points for driving additional value.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joseph. And it brings us to our next chapter, as we just talked about how loyalty programs pay back to your company. Now let's see how loyalty programs pay back to your customers. And when producing these numbers, we analyzed 290 million customer loyalty data points from our own, from the loyalty programs that are managed by Antavo. Before diving into the numbers, there is time for another poll question. And I know this question is a bit complicated. Guess how much higher the lifetime value of active loyalty program members are compared to those who are not active. So let's see, and here are a couple of options too. So guess how much higher the lifetime value of active loyalty program members is. You can select one of the following. So it's like 1-2 times higher, or 3-4 times higher, or 5-6 times higher. So basically the question is, how valuable is an active loyalty program members? I see the numbers growing, and now I will close the poll and share the results. And it seems that almost like 96% of people thought that it's somewhere between 3 and 6 times higher. Okay, I'm hiding the results now and showing you the next slide, which answers a question that is very similar to this, because it focuses more on those who are spending points. The lifetime value of point spenders are 6.3 times higher. And I really like this slide. I really like this learning, because it shows that it's one thing that marketeers usually think about, or I usually think about, is like customers should earn points because this is the benefit for the business. But there is the other side too. They should spend points too, because those who spend points, they are more valuable for the business. The other thing that we identified, that active members in loyalty programs where there are partner rewards spend 3.4 times more with the company. It also shows a level of sophistication, because partner rewards are introduced if the loyalty program is developed enough that they can attract other kinds of partners who are non-competitive to the company, but selling to the same target audience and providing partner rewards. But here the point is, what we analyze, that it's very special if there are partner rewards involved in the loyalty program. Active members spend 3.4 times more. And our last number connected to this part, how loyalty pays back to customers, members who redeem personalized rewards spend 4.5 times more. In the previous slide, we talked about point spenders, and now we talk about one step further, which is reward redeemers. And this number talks about how reward redeemers are more valuable to the customers. So it's worth it to encourage these actions, redemption, point spend, because those customers who feel that they get the value from the company, they're also more valuable for the company. And this brings us to Joseph again. What do you think, Joseph, about this part, how people can take action?
So I'm going to provide sort of 3 tips on how you can drive more value for program members. And I'll start with the first point, which is about how do we help them, help our customers in the current situation that we're in, right, which is a recession. And it's affecting people's pockets and disposable income. So how do we help them buy what they need? And again, we're seeing quite a few interesting examples out there, but one of the most obvious one is really help them use their points alongside cash to pay for new purchases. Again, the objective really from a marketing manager's perspective is obviously to maintain and possibly increase the member spend, but also from a customer point of view, think about the value that they will get by, immediately start using their points rather than have to wait for it. The second point really is about, it might seem obvious, right? But a lot of programs are overcomplicated. Customers find it hard to know how many points they've earned with each shop and what they're using their points on. What can they use it on? So the tip here really is, help them understand the benefits they're getting. Show them how they can earn whatever virtual currency you decide to provide, and then also show them how they can redeem this earned currency. The objective really is kind of to help them improve the overall program engagement, which I think is very important. And the last one really, again, it's an interesting one. Just like customers, right? Businesses are also facing increasing costs as well. So it shouldn't really put you off in investing in customer benefits, but you can also consider perhaps offering them access to valuable benefits such as free delivery or gift wrapping service, but using a kind of small, low-cost subscription. The advantage of paid subscriptions is obviously that customers could be getting the instant access to these benefits, really, which is what you want, right? Rather than having to save up points or reach a certain spend threshold before they ever get to use these benefits. So hopefully there'll be useful tips for providing additional value for your members.
Excellent, thank you very much. Now it's over to you, Andreanne. How can people take action so loyalty pays back to their customers?
Yeah, we know that customers love loyalty programs because they help them to save money and get rewarded. So I'm going to bring 3 more, or build on the one that Joseph has just mentioned, 3 more tips. The first one is about building strategic partnership. It's a great way to expand loyalty offering and rewards, so we can offer a greater choice of reward. But it also allows to reach new audiences and monetize the program. So we know it can be challenged to offer additional rewards, and partnership can help because the reward cost can be partially or fully paid by the partner in exchange to gain visibility and insights on members. And I think that as long as you build the right partnership, that you have the right partner, it can be a win-win for everyone. So it is for the brand that is offering the loyalty program. It should be for the partners as well. But I think that at the end, it's the customer that benefits the most from it, because he's going to get a greater choice of reward, and those can be either financial or experiential. Because when we look into experiential rewards, partnership can be a very good case for it. That brings me to my second point, the redemption of those rewards. So to build on what Joseph has just mentioned about redemption, I'd say that, or I'd add that redemption must be frictionless as well. One thing is sure, it's been said, we want customers to redeem those points and rewards, and that for a lot of reasons, because it increases engagement with the brand and generate incremental revenue. But it also makes customer happy. So that's important, because we want our customers to be happy. So the best way, I think, to boost redemption rate is to be first attractive, but to remove any friction in the redemption process. So you should be diving into your redemption experience and identifying any improvement that you can do at checkout, both online and offline, and think as well of managing loyalty currency as a method of payment so that it's very simple to use. There's other features as well that you can think of, such as buy now, pay later, which is have a growing interest. Payment card linking as well can also improve the redemption process. So I think that once again, like there's great insight on their report about it that you can see, but it has to be simple. Third and last, finding the right balance between instant and daily gratification. Customers want instant gratification, but they also want to be rewarded and recognized for being loyal in the long term with the brands. So thinking about like incentives to join the program, ongoing benefit that customer can enjoy on a day-to-day basis, surprise and delight mechanism as well. They're all great addition to delayed gratification, such as points and cashback in a loyalty program. You just need to find the right balance. And I think it's all about how member will see the value in your program. That's really what you need to look at when you think about all of your rewards and benefits.
Excellent, thank you, Andreanne. And I think this brings us to our third topic. So after learning about how loyalty pays back to your company customers, this is the third point, how loyalty pays back to the bird. And what do we mean by this? Solving these bigger problems of the bird, because it may be possible, but we want to hear from you around this. So I'm launching this third poll. What do you think? Can loyalty programs help to solve the big problems in the world? And now I'm launching the poll, and you can select one of the following: yes, a confident yes, or a maybe, but I don't know how, or a no, because it's just not possible. So please cast your vote. I see that people are voting, so nice. Already more than half of the people voted, so I will close the poll now and share the results. Well, it seems the majority of people says yes, loyalty programs can help to solve the bigger problems of the world. And around 40% says that maybe, but they don't know how. And so it's very nice, because now we will bring a couple of examples to the how. But let's start with the first number that we learned. And it's about 66% of businesses reward or plan to reward responsible behavior in loyalty programs. And what do we mean by responsible behavior? It's when you make good lifestyle choices, like you work out or you drink enough water. And today technology lets us reward that. Like if the loyalty program is connected with Strava, then you can reward working out or going on a hike. Or if you bring your own bag to the shop, that can be rewarded. Or if you bring back your old clothes for recycling. These are all things that help to solve the bigger problems of the world, but also a great way for companies to align their values together with their customers. 68% of loyalty program owners predict that more loyalty programs will support these ESG causes, because this is the direction that the bird is going to. And in the report, you will find a more detailed breakdown of how really thinks that, who kind of thinks that, and who thinks that no, it's not going to happen. And this last number is, which is not really a number, but the number one benefit of loyalty programs that are helping to solve these bigger problems of the bird. It's aligning the loyalty program with the brand's and customers' values, because that's a place where you can really live by your mission. And it's a place where it provides interactions for customers. So they say that that's the number one benefit of these ESG related loyalty program elements. And it brings us to, is this Adrian or Joseph now? I don't remember, but you will tell me.
I think it's the blue is mine.
Okay.
Yeah, great. So yeah, the first thing, if you want to solve problem, you need to know which problem you have to solve. But I'll go back to those that attended the webinar last year or read the report last year. You might remember that we talked a lot about emotional loyalty. And I think that this is obviously very relevant still today, because loyalty program needs to move from being purely transactional to building connection with members and even communities. And building on this, we know that it has the power, loyalty program and loyalty, customer loyalty has the power of changing behaviors. So brand, they need to understand what really matters to their customers and identify these pain points and these desires that the customers have, because this way they can encourage positive behavior that impacts the customer well-being personally and also the community in which they live and even the world around us. So by helping customer to solve problems at any level, even those little problems on a day-to-day or the biggest problem of the world, we definitely have a positive impact on their life, on the customer's life. And I'd say that any major changes in community, like every little bit counts, so we need to start somewhere, and your loyalty program is a good place to start. That brings me to my second point, which is about benefits. An extension of loyalty, of emotional loyalty. There's many opportunity to offer a choice of benefit that can contribute to solving problems in customer life and above. Rewarding behaviors. We've talked about this, good behaviors. Encouraging point donation as well is a good example. But what I would suggest to marketers and brands that want to offer these kinds of rewards and benefits is that they can leverage loyalty data and even invest in co-creation with your customers to get insight on what keeps them engaged and what is valuable to them. And then lastly, talking about values, we were saying that it needs to be aligned with the brand values. So it's all about all of these actions and incentive needs to be aligned with your brand values. So we surveyed company to our report, found out that identifying the right problem or the right cause is the biggest challenge for companies who want to use their loyalty program to contribute to solving a problem of the world. So what I'd say, if it's not clear to you yet, if you do need to identify what really matters to your company, and I'd say for this, go back to your brand values. Customers are very sensitive to how companies behave. They want to feel that the brand is aligned with their own value. So circling back to the fact that loyalty program has the power of changing behaviors. So leveraging your program to encourage positive behavior can definitely contribute to make the world a better place. Those are my 3 tips.
Yeah, such a nice ending note to make the world a better place. Joseph, then it's over to you. What do you think? Sure. How people can take action?
So it's kind of similar to what Andreanne and also you've mentioned, right? I'm going to talk about two points on this topic. So they're going to be more on the reward side. So the first point was really about how do we use the program to encourage members to adopt environmentally friendly, responsible behaviors. And I'll take an example of one of our clients in Europe, right, EPAM, who's obviously encouraging its members to redeem points for recyclable shopping bags. So instead of buying your single-use plastic bags, why don't you use some of the points to redeem them for recyclable shopping bags, which I think is a really great idea. The second point is really about how do we enable the customers to support not-for-profit initiatives. And again, this is kind of similar to what was being discussed earlier. In this case, again, I'm going to bring the point of an existing client that we've got in Europe. They allow their members to donate their points to charities of their choice, which is obviously something also that we're seeing in a lot of other markets, not just in Europe. So both of these points, the ability for you to redeem points for recyclable items or use points to donate them to charities, right, are great low-cost options that you should be able to implement very easily with your existing infrastructure.
Thank you very much, Joseph. This is how we wrap up this first half an hour, 35 minutes of this webinar. So you just learned about these 3 topics and 9 numbers, and I think 18 pieces of advice in the 35 minutes. So we will spend the next 50 minutes with answering questions. And you can ask your question here in this little panel. There is this questions label in this control panel, and then you just type your question and simply send click the send button, and then it will arrive to me. I see these now in front of me, and we will answer these questions which are not answered on the webinar. We will answer them later. Now let me see the first question. Sarah asks, we need to sell the idea of loyalty to our top management. What are the key arguments for the C-level? Adrienne, do you think you are the knower of all numbers? What do you think? What is the answer to this question?
There's a lot of arguments, I would say. I think that beyond everything that we've seen today, where we see that companies invest, so your competitor will invest in loyalty. It can engage customer on an emotional level as well. Positive ROI, I think, is one of the key arguments because loyalty is measurable and we can track ROI, so we can adjust based on these results. It's I'd say easy to track the performance of your loyalty program. So every dollar that you invest will actually bring additional revenue. So I think this is one of the key arguments. I'd say that data as well, having first-party data, understanding who your customers are, and being fully transparent with everything that happens related to data at the moment, and being fully transparent with your customer while you build that knowledge. Saying as well that if you know who your most valuable customers are, remember that you can never copy that. Like your competitor can copy product, can copy marketing initiative. They can copy a lot of things. They cannot copy the knowledge that you have of your customer and the relationship that you have with your customers. So I'd say those would be the key argument, I think, for C-level executive if you want to convince and onboard in loyalty.
Yeah, maybe just to add to that point as well, maybe one more other thing to consider is how does the loyalty program align as well to other strategic and commercial objectives? So for example, if the objective is to drive, for example, additional sales through retail, or perhaps even through the online channels, right? How does the loyalty program support and complement that? So I think it's important to also link it to strategic objectives, because it's crucial that, apart from the ROI piece, is as well kind of delivering on some of the bigger numbers that the wider business is trying to drive for sure.
Okay, next question. Dave asks, you said you examined other KPIs too. Are there other information regarding KPIs and benchmarks, similar to what you said about ROI? Yes, there are. There are, I think, 8 more. In total, we focused on 7 loyalty program KPIs. And I'm asking now my colleague, Ava, who's sharing her screen now, can you please open the report now and then scroll to, yes, so nice. You are already there. You were reading my mind. So this is what I mean by this. This is, which page is this in the report? It's towards the end of it, around 70 or so. And here are these top 7 loyalty program KPIs and benchmarks. And one of them is ROI, and we do have benchmarks already for adoption rate and redemption rate. And if you scroll a bit, then there are a couple of numbers here with this blue background where we have benchmarks for these KPIs. And if you scroll even more, you will see that a couple of places we just can't put a benchmark because it's about, for example, for a repeat purchase or customer lifetime value. And here we added like what is the percentage of people who measure this. And yes, this is the full list, that these are the KPIs that usually people measure. So this is the answer to your question. Now feel free to go back to the screen sharing and I will see the next question because we have so many. I'm so happy about that. It's like 30 questions that are in front of me right now. So Cecily asks, with budgets being squeezed, what are some of the ways marketeers can still find new budget? We just talked about it with Joseph before the call. So maybe Joseph, can you please take this one?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of budgets, I think there's a couple of different pieces to look at. First of all, where are you currently spending? A lot of your budget. Are you spending the budget mostly on platform, on changes to the existing infrastructure? Or are you spending it more on the customers and the benefits? And I think it's important to balance that out. There are so many. I've seen so many projects where everybody's busy building and it's costing so much, and in the meantime, you're not able to improve the customer experience. You're not able to improve the program communication. So I think it's important to balance that out. Another aspect, I mean, obviously, depending on the size of your program. So some programs, for example, are significant and they've got a lot of data, especially in the retail space. And we're seeing a lot of clients and a lot of other brands out there that are also building their own media platforms. So you must have heard the term by now, right? Retail media network. So if you've got such a vast amount of data and you're able to onboard your suppliers or able to bring in your partners, perhaps you can fund some of the promotions and some of the additional rewards through the use of your platform data. I think most importantly, really, I think is first do a bit of an audit of where are your costs going and how are you kind of spreading your budget really. You know, how much of that is spent on the customer versus actually the platform, the infrastructure, and the internal ways of working, which perhaps needs a bit of a refresh or a revamp on that side.
Okay, excellent. Next question is, Shankar asks, what should we consider when budgeting for our program? Adrian, maybe you could take this next one. So the question is, what should we consider when budgeting for our program? What percentage of our budget should we allocate to loyalty? Because we ask questions related to this in this year's report too. Many questions.
Yeah, there's great insight in the report, definitely. So you will find answer, well, at least some answer in the report, because we've questioned like what percentage of the global or their total marketing budget is dedicated to loyalty for those brands that offer a loyalty program. So it's about 28%. Top of mind, it's about 28% of the total budget. Obviously, it's a little higher for those who want to are in the process of launching loyalty program because of the initial investment, which will also be a little higher in the first couple of years. So roughly, it's about, let's say, 30% of total marketing budget. You need to look into IT expenses for the platform, for the implementation, integration, front end, back end. You need to budget as well for future roadmap enhancement. There's also obviously all of the branding, communication, go-to-market strategy, personalization, depending what type of tools you have already for anything that's communication and customer touch point. Obviously the rewards, that's usually well known that you also need to invest in the rewards. But yeah, so think about those all those different areas that should all be part of your business case, definitely. And you have in the report as well, add that in the report you have average in terms of how companies spend in the revamp or in the launch of their loyalty program. So we question companies that are launching or planning to revamp their program or have revamped their program. And there's great insight on average budget as well and average timeline on this.
Okay, next question. Chris asks, 79% of loyalty program owners are planning to revamp their loyalty programs over the next 3 years. What new functionality are these loyalty program owners looking for from a loyalty platform technology provider to better support their business goals? And there is another question which is similar to that from Frederick. Let's say we want to pick a third-party vendor for our program. What are the best practices to choose the best fit? I'm happy to answer this question as a co-founder of a company which is a loyalty technology provider, Antavo. Here are these, I will tell you like 3 things which I think are very important in terms of choosing a new technology, and these are the driving principles for us too when developing the product. So we build Antavo to be no code. And what no code means? No code means that there shouldn't be engineers needed to manage the loyalty program. There should be engineers needed in order to launch. It's usually a big project, and companies like EPAM, where Joseph is from, these are the big system integrators who to create the concept and also deliver it to launch a project. But for the actual running of the loyalty program, there should be no engineer needed. So it should be no code. The second is it should be headless, and we make Antavo to be headless. What does it mean? It's API centric and headless. So the front end of the loyalty program can be whatever you want. And Antavo customers have loyalty programs on WeChat, on their website, in a mobile app, in a mobile pass, in the store. So all different kinds of ways, because we know that it's you who knows best what is the best for your customer. We just want to provide the engine below it, behind it. The third thing that I put here, that it needs to be innovative in terms of supporting loyalty logic. So the technology should be able to reward more than purchases. It should handle more sophisticated loyalty logic or have multiple currencies, or customers should be able to spend from multiple wallets. And there are even loyalty programs where there should be no points because it should be built on badges, or it should be able to handle these private interest clubs or secret clubs, secret tiers, or Tinder-like quizzes, swipe left, swipe right, to tell more about your preferences. Because customer profiling is one of the things that a loyalty program can really do. So you don't ask everything when it's enrollment, but you ask these things during the loyalty program. Okay, next one from Farai, and maybe that's for you, Joseph. So you spoke about aligning your program with the brand's ESG agenda. Can you tell more? Why does this matter for loyalty program members?
Sure. So yes, it matters for the program members because your members are as much purpose seekers, right, as they are bargain hunters. They want to support good causes. They want to learn how to live sustainably. They want to feel good about contributing to society. So programs that manage to align their purpose with their members, obviously they're going to get, and their own kind of personal values are going to create better value than just pure personal kind of tangible benefits like a discount or a points me prices type thing. So it'll be a win for the brand, it'll be a win for the customer, but it's also a win for society, right? So it's a very good kind of feel factor for all three parties here, or all three stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. And we have time for one last question, so which should be the one, because I have like 14 out in front of me. Let me see that. Okay, you mentioned, Edita asks, you mentioned low-cost subscriptions, so this would be you for Joseph, which sounds like a form of paid loyalty. What are some of the challenges you've experienced with subscriptions?
Okay, yeah, so subscriptions they're an interesting concept, right? Because of that, they could help you either to partially fund or fully fund expensive benefits. The key really about subscriptions is that, yes, great, people subscribe, they typically pay either monthly, quarterly, or annually, right? But the challenge is, are they maximizing on the benefits that they're getting from that subscription? And if you're not helping, reminding them about the benefits and getting them to use and maximize the value of that, then at some point they will look at their bank statement, they're going to sort of reflect and think, hang on a minute, do I really want to continue with this particular subscription? So the key really about subscription is to kind of remind your subscribers, right, of the benefits they've paid for and help them to continue to use it as often as possible. Otherwise, you're just simply making it easy for them to just cancel their subscription and perhaps even go with a competitor as well, which is another challenge.
Yeah, and I even add to this that remember that the customer that will go for subscription are usually your most engaged and loyal customer, because they're willing to pay for a recurring product or services. So it's what Joseph has said, it's even more true, because you really need those customers are your most valuable ones. So you want to make sure that the value that you bring for the subscription recognize that as well. Yes, for the cost, but also because they're your best customers.
Thank you, Adrienne. And there's one last question that I would like you to answer, because it's such a great question and it's so important for everyone. And as a loyalty strategist, you follow companies and marketeers and loyalty program managers when launching a loyalty program. So I'm sure that you had these great questions many times. When you first roll out your loyalty program, how do you keep finance and executives focused on the long-term game if on the short term the loyalty program is not as profitable as previously expected?
Yeah.
So how you keep finance and executives focused on the long term?
Yeah, it's all circling back to, I was referring earlier to quick win and immediate revenue. Loyalty is not a quick win. It's a long-term, it's definitely a long-term investment. So first year, even sometimes second year, depending on the investment that you needed, the upfront investment that you need to do, your program may not show a positive ROI. You may see that only second or third year. So it's a long-term investment. And I think that beyond convincing finance and executive after the launch, that needs to be set up before the launch. As soon as you start your loyalty journey, it needs to be clear. And this is where the business case is key in the process of launching a loyalty program, is having everyone expect or seeing what is expected and not seeing quick return on that. And now if all of that is done and that the issue is that your program is not reaching the results that it was expected because it's slower than what you budgeted, even if it's negative, I'd say like start on test and learn options, making small tweaks to your program as well, small learnings. So there's some adjustment that can be done, keeping it flexible so that you can adjust as well and improve the results as you move forward. But it's definitely like a long-term investment. It's not something that you launch and then 2 years later you said, okay, let's stop it. Then in this case, I think it's a very bad initiative financially for the company, but also in terms of brand image, like launching a program and totally revamping it, or even like worse, stopping it right after. Yeah.
And maybe just to kind of add to what Andreanne said, when you're launching or when you're planning to launch a loyalty program, right? You're building a business case, and in that business case, you're going to put in a set of assumptions, which will become effectively your KPIs. How many people are going to enroll? How many times they're going to increase their frequency of spend, right? How many times they're going to shop with you? So you're going to have some KPIs that you already know and you'll be tracking. And during the pilot phase, that's when you actually get to validate whether your KPIs are actually correct or they're way off. And therefore you can adjust your business plan and your business case against that. So finance will hold you accountable to those KPIs for sure. And as long as you keep tracking and you've got ways of being able to change and improve on those KPIs, then finance will back you up and it will support you. If obviously you're completely way off and you continue to stay way off for a longer period, then clearly something needs to happen in order sort of to curb back on those costs. And perhaps, not having a loyalty program at all is something that you also have to kind of plan for and consider should you need to shut the program down because perhaps it's not profitable anymore.
All right. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you very much, Andreanne. Our time is up already from 5 minutes ago. Thank you everyone on this webinar for your attention today. We are really humbled by the great interest that this report has. The technical information that I need to give you now is that the recording of the webinar and the report document will be shared with you in a follow-up email. And actually, if you reply to that email, we will receive it. And please, whatever thought that you have, get back to us. We poured so much work and love into this report that we are just very hungry for feedback and would love to hear from you. And of course, if you wanted to learn more about Antavo's technology, you can visit our website and the rest of the world will access the document from tomorrow. I hope that you found this webinar valuable, and then see you on the pages of this report and on one of our other events. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.